listening to Cup of Queens with Paige and Saray, and today we are so excited. We are interviewing Missy Heilman, who is the Executive Director of Bio Girls here in Fargo, and their mission is to improve the self-esteem of adolescent girls through empowerment of self and service to others.
Missy is just incredible to start, and for her to share her stories from Bio Girls, an amazing impact that she has made not only on these young women, but on the communities that they live in, was absolutely incredible to listen to.
So grab your cup and enjoy. We're so excited. We're so excited. And so we're here with Missy, and she is the Executive Director of Bio Girls here in Fargo. Your mission, we feel, is very similar to ours, inspiring young girls through empowerment. And so, tell us a little bit about Bio Girls.
Sure. So Bio Girls stands for Beautiful Inside and Out. We're a 12-week program working with 2nd through 6th graders. We combine life skills curriculum with mentoring and physical activity. We are evidence-based, so we have a research team that measures the improvement in self-esteem of our participants. We're proven to work, so we see a significant increase in the self-esteem over the course of the 12 weeks. We are in 5 states, reaching thousands of girls each year. And even during the pandemic in 2020, we saw an increase in the number of girls that we served. We are 100% volunteer facilitated, so we had over 600 volunteers bringing our program to life last year.
Wow. That's incredible.
That's so crazy.
I love the name.
I know. Yeah. I actually didn't realize
Beautiful
that.
Inside and Out.
Yeah,
That's
I didn't realize
so cool.
Uh-huh.
So we tell our girls, we're really teaching them to love themselves on the inside. And when they do that and they find their strength inside, it shines outward as beauty. So we're,
awesome.
Trying to push them away from focusing on their physical appearance and trying to be someone they're not, and focus on the inside and, who God made them to be. So, we all know when we can find that within ourselves, then we find happiness.
Yeah. And I even think of, so you're dealing with younger girls, but that's something that, even us adults need to be reminded of.
I know I personally do every day, and I think a lot of that has to do with social media. Social media is not a great thing. I can't imagine being a junior high or high schooler now with everything that's going on. So everything that you guys do, I love. Yeah. I think that's so great.
It is awesome.
Yeah, we always get asked why 2nd through 6th grade, why not middle school, why not high school? And I say not yet. But research shows that 2nd through 6th graders are struggling as well. In fact, self-esteem is highest in 3rd grade in girls.
Really?
And drops to a low in 6th grade. And so it's kind of that time in life where puberty hits.
Yeah.
Psychology tells you that your inner voice develops. So you start questioning yourself and comparing to everybody else. And so we're working with the girls during what we call a very transformative time to help keep that self-esteem at a healthy level rather than watching it decrease.
Wow.
And then I shared with you before we went on air, we are actually working on a teen program. We're in active development, hoping to launch a pilot program. Earliest would be the fall, most likely springtime next year.
Oh, cool.
But that way we can provide self-worth programming from 7 years all the way up to 18.
Oh, so cool.
That's so cool.
I've never heard those stats on that age group. I'm trying to think back to when I was in 6th grade, and that totally is when you start having memories of am I popular? Do people like me?
Am I wearing the right thing?
Yes.
Do I have the coolest clothes? Am I saying the right thing?
Yeah, you do start to question yourself kind of in that age range.
Yes, and you brought up social media, and we didn't grow up with that.
Yeah.
Right. I guess I don't know.
No, we didn't.
This
really
generation hasn't known any different.
Yeah.
And that just amplifies all of that comparison, all of that perfectionism. In fact, I've done a lot of research around social media, the impact on kids and teens. And surprisingly, the research is mixed, or the findings are mixed on social media's direct impact on self-esteem, but what we do know is that it does increase depression and anxiety, and it creates, or help, like I said, amplifies this environment of focusing on performance, achievement, and physical appearance. And when you're focused on those things and you're basing your self-worth on those things, you're never hitting the target.
Right.
Because standards are always changing. And if you go on social media, there's always somebody who's on a better vacation or has a better car or just landed their dream job. Or, if you're a teenager or doing the cool things with the friends and you weren't invited, or looks the way that you want to look, or skinnier. I mean, it goes on and on, right? And so they don't have the mental maturity to be able to scroll and not compare. I mean, a lot of adults struggle.
Oh my gosh. I should be reeled in all the time with that. It's easy to get down a rabbit hole of comparison and doubt. And it's hard because I think everyone intends to use social media in a not negative way. You're hoping to celebrate some of the big moments in life and remember them and get to share them with maybe people that don't live next to you, but you don't realize how those little actions can create big waves in negative ways.
For sure.
Yeah. I highly recommend a book called Enough As She Is by Rachel Simmons.
I'm gonna write that
anybody
down.
that works with girls, anyone that has daughters or granddaughters or nieces or a girl you care about. Yeah. Really, really great book. And she has some great information in there on not just social media. I'm going to talk about that, what she talks about in there, but just on helping girls deal with society standards. But she says in the book there's red flags. If you're using social media or your daughter's using social media in one of these 3 ways or all of these ways, it's a red flag. To control how others view your life. And that's where you see, this curated album of photos. And with teenagers, it's, I'm the smart girl, the athletic girl, the funny girl, the popular girl, when really she's not any of those things. The second way is using social media to control how others view your physical appearance. So girls are spending hours and hours contorting their body to get the best shot. And that's even if they post the photo.
Right. Yeah.
Because a lot of them are like, oh, I'm not going to get enough likes. I'm not even going to post it. And then the third way is seeking affirmation. So are you looking for people to like whatever you're posting? And I found it interesting, Rachel in the book said, what was never quantifiable, is always just kind of a perception. How many friends you had or how many friends you had is now quantifiable. Yes. And so teens are using it in that way too. So it's kind of scary when you think about it.
It is. I have heard a couple of rumors go around that Instagram has toyed with the idea of getting rid of the like number and the follower number. And I do think that would be, I think it would be a huge step in the right direction, because it is sad that now there is, in a sense, a whole nother scale. I mean, you deal with a weight scale already being a problem in young women's lives. And now we have a social scale that it's not accurate, but it's a number, and it feels accurate because it's math.
And you're exactly right. They're basing their social value on number of friends, number of likes, follows, all of those things, which, it's funny, as an organization for BioGirls, social media is our number one way
to reach people.
And to create awareness for what we do. And yet on the flip side, we talk so much about how it's so detrimental to young women, young men. Although the research does show that females across the board struggle with social media much more than males. The amount of time that females are spending on social media is staggering, like 6+ hours a day.
That's insane.
And that's current research.
Wow.
And compared to boys, they're spending a lot of time on screens, but the way that they're they're spending their time is through gaming.
Yep.
Which actually has shown to increase or decrease their feelings of loneliness, and they feel more connected because they're actually engaging with their peers through gaming consoles. So, whereas girls are scrolling.
Right.
They're not
It's a
connecting, they're
lonely setting. You're not sitting there talking with your girlfriends.
Right.
And,
I think of Tyler, your husband.
oh my, I was totally going to say that.
He's such a gamer. Not anything wrong with it, but and you and I were talking about this about a month ago, and you're like, well, he likes it. This is how he hangs out with his brother.
It is.
You know,
and that's something that's taken me so long to get, because I'm like, why do you like that stuff?
Yeah.
Like, why do you think that's fun? And he's like, well, I'm actually spending time with my friends. We're talking, we're doing an activity together. We might not be in the same room, but you're just looking at TikTok. Like, the time is the same. I'm just with people and you're not. And I'm like, wow. So when you say that, that totally resonates again with me, because I see where that difference is very, very present.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you're a mom of 3 girls.
3 girls.
What has been your approach with social media as a parent, and how to, I always think about that. I always think about this conversation I've had it with friends before, where I'm like, gosh, I almost like, whenever I become a parent, I don't even want my kids to have social media. I want them off of that, but also
it's the 21st century. It's
Right.
hard,
Yeah.
So how did you navigate that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I do it perfectly, but when they are younger, we had monitoring apps and had, YouTube and, we didn't allow some of the apps.
Yeah.
Not until they turned 13 did we allow Instagram.
Yep.
And then we had the monitoring apps on there so we could limit their time, limit what they accessed. Which I think is still appropriate because their kids are younger and younger getting phones now.
Yeah.
When we first were talk about social media at Bio Girls, it was more like internet safety.
Right.
Like how to keep yourself safe. Like don't give out your location or, say I'm going to be at the mall on Saturday at 2, those things, which is still important.
Yep.
But now it's blossomed into more like, how does it make you feel? What messages are you getting and how does it make you feel? And the only way to really monitor that and to really take an active involvement is to have discussions about it, And there's a couple of exercises that I recommend doing, and it's like an audit of who you follow on social media. Because here's the thing, when I'm 43, so when I grew up, I saw these messages about beauty on magazine covers in the grocery store checkout aisle, maybe makeup commercials between episodes of whatever show I was watching, maybe 100 messages a week about beauty and physical appearance. I read a stat that girls are seeing 10,000 messages a day about beauty through social
That's
media.
insane. I believe it though. I do.
Yes.
Wow.
That's so true.
And it's maybe not in your face, color your hair, lose 10 pounds, but it's images of females in, looking a certain way, most likely photoshopped or edited in some manner, which is sending the message to your kid, to your girl, that
this is normal.
This is normal. You should change yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's 2 exercises. With your daughter, go through the influencers that she follows and ask how she feels. Look at a few posts and ask what feelings it produces. If it's negative feelings, stop following them.
Get rid of it. Yeah.
The same holds true with friends, and I air quote friends.
Yeah.
Because, again, quantifying, right? You add everybody, even the girl that you'd never talk to in the high school hallway.
Right. But we're in school together.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So I'm gonna follow her.
And I just want to be in the know just in case. I mean, I see that with my 15-year-old. And again, it's proven that girls who have all of these so-called friends and they're seeing what they're doing on social media think they're happier and are more satisfied with life than they are. So another exercise that you can do is to go through this friend list and say, would you invite them to a party?
Yeah.
That's a really great
Would
exercise.
you pick up the phone and call them
Yeah.
if you needed something? If the answer is no, unfriend them. And this will be really, really, really difficult. But it's proven that if you maintain a close network of friends on social media, people that you actually know in real life, you have a more balanced view of reality because you know what's going on in their life for real. And so then you're less likely to compare.
Right.
And so those are a few great exercises. I don't recommend saying, get off Instagram, you know, you can't be on TikTok. Because number one, you want to build trust.
Yeah.
And you want them to be able to come and talk to you, whether it's social media related or not. Obviously set boundaries. And I think the best thing we can do is to set the example ourselves. Put the phone down when you're eating a meal, have some, you know, app-free time. It's really hard.
It is hard.
It is hard, but I mean, we're such a connected world right now that it's hard.
Yeah.
And they don't always agree with me. They're not always happy about it. But the other scary thing that I just recently read is how much time kids are spending on their phone at night. And part of it is they have FOMO.
Right.
They're so worried they're going to miss something.
Yeah.
The other part of it, and I've seen this with my daughter actually, is kids are so aware of mental health issues right now too, which is a great thing. But they feel like they have to be there for their friend in a moment's notice.
Oh, wow.
And so they're relentlessly checking their phone.
Yeah.
In an article I read, you know, kids are saying, I'll even wake up in the middle of the night and check my phone. So imagine what that's doing to sleep patterns.
Right.
Which also then leads to mental health issues if you're not getting good rest.
The right sleep. Yeah.
That is wild. But so, I mean, that is so interesting, just that social media presence. But, you know, going back to Bio Girls, because I think what you guys are doing is incredible. It is so necessary. It's been necessary for years, and I think it's going to become more necessary as we progress in society. So what was the inspiration? I mean, really, what was that kind of starting point of realizing this was an organization that was needed?
Well, I didn't realize there was an organization needed. I honestly, when I started Bio Girls, it was because I had a desire to give back and to mentor young girls. And I reached out to a couple of organizations that have programs and never got a call back.
Wow.
And it's just my nature. I'm a type A doer, get her done kind of person. And so I started dreaming, you know, what would it be if I were to create something? And I really stewed on it for a while and shared with a couple of my close friends. But like many people, like didn't really act on it for probably almost a year. And then I don't know what inspired me when I knew I needed an organization to back me to start. I mean, I couldn't just create this and run it out of my garage. So I approached the youth director one Sunday at our church, and said, I have this idea. And she's like, well, let me talk to the staff about it. And 2 days later, she called me back and said, let's do it. Didn't even have a name.
Wow.
Oh my God.
It was like all in my brain.
Yeah.
And then I was like, whoa. Okay.
Hang on a minute.
What are we doing? Let's do it. But I was inspired because at the time I was the mom of 2 young daughters, now 3, and I just became so sensitive to these messages that girls were receiving. I was also an athlete growing up. I grew up in a small rural town in southern Minnesota where I was involved in everything. I mean, that was the beauty of the small town. I mean, I was even in the choir and can't sing at all.
Same. That was me.
Don't ask me to. So my kids had started participating in sports, and I could see like this transition from sports being somewhere where you go to relieve stress and just have fun and, you know, the social aspect of it, to being, hey, you have to figure out by 4th grade what sport you want to play and play it year round. And now all of a sudden it's pressure producing. And, you know, my 13-year-old was told in 4th grade that she wasn't a good basketball player. So do you think she plays basketball? Heck no.
That's awful.
And, you know,
Who
so
says that to a kid?
I know. Somebody who shouldn't be coaching kids.
Right.
Yeah.
But I dreamed of creating an organization, well, not an organization, a program that any girl could be a part of. You didn't have to be an athlete. You could come be yourself. It was inclusive. And you just left feeling good about yourself. And honestly, that first year we were shooting from the hip. I recruited a couple of teachers, a school counselor, a few of my mom friends, and we came up with what it should look like each time, which actually that structure has not changed. That has remained the same.
Cool.
But we'd say, what should we talk about next week? And we'd come up with it on the fly. Now it's produced and, you know, very thought out and research based. But that first year was just highly successful, and we got rave reviews. And from there, a woman from Fergus Falls approached me. Her niece had participated, and she had come up to watch her run the Fargo Marathon 5K. And she said, we need this in Fergus Falls. Can I bring Bio Girls to Fergus Falls? And I was like, well, I'm working a full-time job, pregnant with my third kid. Sure, let's do that, you know?
Throw something else on my plate.
But I knew that it might be our opportunity to scale, and people had started asking me about that and questioning whether that was the intention. And at that point, still, it really wasn't.
Yeah.
It was truly a way that I had great mentors growing up. I mean, I had a great childhood, but I also had very key people in my life who helped shape who I was.
Yeah.
And it's proven that youth with a non-family member mentor have higher self-esteem. And I just want to provide that to girls. So that's how it came to be.
Unbelievable.
That's so inspiring.
It is incredible.
Kind of gives me goosebumps.
It does.
You know?
It gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's grown so much from what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about. In the early years, people are like, this could be national. And, you know, people still say that, but we've intentionally made the decision to keep it in the 5 states we're in for now. And I'll explain that later. But we have grown. Last year, even during the pandemic, we had 50 locations and reached just under 1,500 girls.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
This year, we're on track to reach about 1,700, which for us is a win. I mean, we had no idea. I mean, honestly, this time last year, we wondered if we'd even be around here.
Right.
So because we're volunteer facilitated, we were worried. People are stressed out, worried about their own jobs and own health, and you know, teaching their kids at school or home school at home, and we're just like, who's going to step up and volunteer?
Yeah.
Right.
Take this on during a pandemic. And it's amazing. We have just such an incredible force of women that believe in our mission, that make it happen. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
That's awesome. So how long ago did it start then?
2013 was our first program year.
Okay.
So it's weird when you do the math. Next year will be our 10th program year.
Sure. Wow.
That is incredible.
It is.
Yeah.
So you've impacted so many young girls' lives, you know, from 2013 until now. What does the organization mean to you?
I would say it's my 4th baby. So I in 2017, we had 10 locations. I was still working full-time as a director of marketing for a professional services company. Was honestly stressed to the max and miserable. Plus had a newborn.
Yeah.
I was sitting at work one day and looking at my to-do list for work and my to-do list for Bio Girls and my to-do list for home, and said, you know, if we keep it at 10 locations, we're reaching almost 400 girls. That's great impact. You know, I can continue to do it all. And the very next week, two new ladies in 2 different communities reached out and said, we need Bio Girls here. Not, we'd love to have it here.
Right.
We need it here.
Wow.
And so at that moment, I was like, all right, this is not about me. This mission is much bigger than Missy. And realized at that moment that I either needed to hand off the reins to Bio Girls and let somebody run with it, or I needed to leave my 6-figure full-time job to get paid nothing. My husband's a financial advisor.
Okay.
And so when I went home and told him this, he thought I was crazy. And we've been married almost 20 years now. So I knew him well enough to know that he would never say, yes, do that.
Yeah.
But I knew that if I did take the leap, he would be 100% supportive. It took about 9 months before I did leave my full-time job, but I did in May of 2017. And I mean, it was a risk. I didn't know if and when I would actually become an employee of Bio Girls, but I knew I wasn't ready to give up my 4th baby. And let someone else run with it, because it was truly, I mean, it's part of me and it's my passion. And I mean, we've reached almost 7,000 girls.
Wow.
In the last almost 10 years. So I mean, it's what I was called to do, and had no idea until I started it.
And it's hard to just ignore that. I love that we're in something so secure and still something that was your passion and that sparked joy and that you could see this is bigger than me. I love that you were pulled to that, because I think that says a lot about you as a person.
For sure.
Yeah, I always say that my bank account was half as full, but my heart was twice as full when I made that decision. And my kids will even still comment to this day, my older two, and say, you were so crabby when you had that other job. And I really, truly was. Because, when you're stressed to the max, you bring it wherever you go.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't leave it at work. It comes home with you. And, it was to the point where I was like rushing my kids to bed so that I could get back on my computer and get my work done.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of women are in that position and, have come to me for advice. And, we were in a financial position where I could take that risk.
Yeah.
But I also have the personality where I thought, well, if it doesn't work, I'll just get another job.
Right.
We'll figure it out.
There's always something else.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that we teach the girls at Bio Girls is don't get in your own way.
Yes.
Don't be your own barrier to following your passion or your dreams, and not to fear that failure. And I feel like if I can be an inspiration or example by sharing my story in that way, I hope I can inspire somebody to take the leap.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. And I think, the message of don't be afraid to fail is so huge, especially with going back to the social media topic. It is a highlight reel. There is no failure on social media. So I think failure is never something anyone wants to endure, but especially nowadays, it seems like it's something that is sometimes not even realistic for people. Like, she never fails, why should I? But think if you would have never done this. I mean, you would have never reached the amount of women that you're impacting today.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about, instead of focusing on those 3 things I mentioned before, performance, achievement, or physical appearance, focus on the progress or the journey, and celebrate those little milestones along the way, and actually grow from failure. Have that fail forward mindset instead of letting the failure define who you are. And I think that's what's happened, especially with social media, is that everyone sees that pinnacle moment or the best vacation, but they didn't see the hard work that went in to pay for that vacation. Or, the championship team, they didn't see the 6 a.m. practices. You just see that pinnacle moment. And I think it's really important to help our girls understand that anybody who succeeds has probably failed 10x times.
Yes.
And, it's such an important lesson.
Yeah.
Every failure is a lesson.
Enjoy the journey or enjoy the process.
Yeah.
I know myself, I'm always racing for the next thing or, not really enjoying the here and now. And I think just hearing your words and hearing you say that, that really resonates with me.